What up? Are we recording?
Yeah, tell us about bees.
Oh, about to give a little lesson on bees. We're just rolling through Detroit Lakes area, northern Minnesota, central Minnesota, with Corin and Jimmy on the camera. Corin. So here to talk about bees. Not as much about honeybees as native bees, because native bees are in major decline around the world, and especially in the U.S. and in particular Minnesota, because we're from Minnesota. We have some 400 types of bees around here in this beautiful state, and there's a lot of decline in bees, native bees and honeybees. Bumblebees this year, I think if they didn't make it to the endangered list, bumblebees, one of the most common native bees, they're at least well on their way, and articles about major population declines come out this year, just for this year.
You see the train?
There's a train over there. And check out all those grasses and stuff.
There's a train behind us.
So, grasses are a big reason we're low on bees or graminoids in general. One particular member of the grass family that's displaced massive amounts of prairie, talking 99.9% of our prairies, have gone because of corn and soybeans.
You know, captured during video.
But corn being a grass.
You can take pictures during your video, you know.
Yeah, so we used to have prairies galore around here, and now we have 0.01% of the prairies we historically had when Europeans started colonizing Minnesota, Dakota, Lakota country. Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Chippewa came to the north at some point from the East Coast through the, I don't know, just they had respected and evolved with this land a long time, since the last glacial period and before, called the Wisconsinian period, when this place was covered in ice. Just as a little natural history. So like 10,000, 14,000 years ago, those icebergs, glacial land masses started to melt and head on towards the sea and make a bunch of lakes and such, and move soils and such around. So as that happened, like, things started moving back towards this area as the climate made way for a livable situation again. Ragweed was one of the first things we've got documentation of coming back, like ambrosia. Like, yeah, a lot of this is found in pollen samples, because pollen can be looked through it historically through fossils and stuff, and who likes pollen? Bees. So who brings pollen around? Bees. Who helps pollinate a bunch of these plants? Because plants can't get up and have sex themselves. Bees. And also, like, butterflies, beetles, ants can do it.
They all do it.
They all do it. Dirty mind.
Sorry.
No, it's real. It's a real thing. Making love is just a part of life.
Even the plants do it.
So these bees got pretty bomb jobs, pretty rockin' jobs. They got a really good fuel economy, you know, getting pollen and nectar so they can fly, bringing it to their queen and the colony type bees. Honeybees, which are of European descent. I don't like to use the word invasive, but I'm also mostly of European descent. So as a visitor, foreigner, even though I was born in Minnesota, I've only been here like 3, 5, and then plus generations depending on what ancestors you are looking to in the phylogenetic tree. But bees have been here for millions, countless generations since the glacial period, but you know, before that too. There's a lot of history, oral history, that suggests that Lakota, Dakota people were in these lands before the Wisconsinian period, even before the Bering Strait theories, and that they went south to the Gulf of Mexico and came back, which maybe a lot of bees did that too. So let's move.
How many varieties of bees are there?
So there are 400 varieties, species of bees in Minnesota.
Wow.
Somewhere around there.
That's a lot.
And in the U.S., there are between 36 and 3,700.
Wow.
Or, you know, 3,000 to almost 4,000 types of bees. You know, entomology is behind still. And there's been other introductions of bees like Cotesia glamourata, you know, for agricultural uses. Those are a parasitic bee. Yeah, we got lots of cool bees. We got cuckoo bees, bumblebees, mining bees, miner bees.
A lot of bees.
A lot of bees. Bombus, you know. We got Apius. Apius is honeybee. Bombus is bumblebee genus.
Bombus.
We got a lot of association with native plants, especially forbs, which are flowering plants.
What are forbs? That's what they call them?
Yeah, like bee balm, a lot of asters, goldenrod. There's so many asters. Sunflower, compass plant, lead plant. Lead plant is a legume.
What's the best flower for bees to drink out of?
What's the best flower for bees to drink out of?
Like, what flower should I plant if I want to bring bees?
If you want to bring bees, you can't just plant one plant and expect it to feed all bees all the time. So what you're going to want to do is get a seed mix that has a diversity of forbs, maybe heavier on the flowering plants, like 50% or more. And then get grasses as well, because there's a lot of ecological associations with grasses for habitat use.
Sweet.
So, I don't know, you could go to Prairie Moon or Restorations Inc. or Minnesota Landscape Alternatives to find plants or landscape or seed mixes so that you have a, you know, a diversity of flowers that bloom throughout the growing season. You know, you want some early blooming things like bloodroot has a flower. That's a forest woodland thing. For prairies, you know, things like spiderswort or Tradescantia might bloom earlier, or lilies. Early season too, you know. There's things like early season. There's things like asters. There's tons of things. You'll see flowers throughout the season. Get one of these mixes or these plants. Scratch up the ground a little bit. Get rid of all that stupid Kentucky bluegrass in your yard and sow them seeds. They gotta stratify a lot of times. Go through a cold period, dormancy, so either lay them on the snow early in the season so that they can go through a few months of cold period, or put them in your fridge with some wet sand and sow them in spring after you get your site preparation. Or I don't know, it's your life.
Like, I would love to create a meadow, but I don't want a meadow that's where the bees are so bad that I get stung walking through it.
So not all bees sting, of course. Honeybees are pretty docile. I also work with honeybees, and they'll they'll really only sting you if you piss them off, especially if you threaten their colony, then they're obligated to sting you. Kind of like me, fuck with me. Anyway, but I'm a nice guy. So that's the first lesson on bees.
Thank you.
Plant it up, support them, learn, teach the kids. Because Einstein, I heard, mentioned something about when the bees died, humanity would have some 7 years of existence left if they were to perish.
Wow.
And I don't have the original article, but all I'm gonna say it's a lot of freaking work to hand pollinate every little bean and flower.
Do you think they would ever create machines that can pollinate? Pollination machines to collect pollen, like a little robot that's like a bee, like a fake bee robot. You know how they make the insect robots?
Yeah.
Do you think they could create one that could pollinate a flower?
Yeah, they could. It's up to you. Like, you want a bunch of miniature drones pollinating your thing, or you want to keep some bees around?
That's kind of scary.